Well, hello there, everybody. It's Tigitar here, and welcome to a short little interesting video. First of all, I have an announcement to make. A few of you have, over the last few days, expressed interest in a possible server playthrough together, and I think that would be a ton of fun if we could pull it off. So I've set up a simple Discord server that maybe we can get started with, and I should be able to run the server just fine, and I could get it set up in the next few days. So if that's something you're interested in, then check out, there is a special Discord link below that will take you to the server for our Terraria multiplayer. My idea is maybe what we could do is have every 3 days or maybe twice a week or something like that. We can decide on a good amount together once we have a couple people lined up. And that can be a time where we all come together on the server. If we can just get together for even an hour, I think it would really add to the connection and the longevity of our time on the server. Maybe that's something that we could try to do to keep the energies high. And we can discuss more things as we go, such as a currency system. Should we just set up shops for each other and ask for gold and platinum coins for payment, or do we need to decide on some other custom currency for us, or how that will all work? So if that's something you would be interested in, check out the link below or contact me on Discord and we can get you in there. Now, moving right along, what I have to share today is a slideshow actually of a few of my earliest and slightly more recent as we get going camera tool captures from Terraria. So they introduced the camera mode tool in Terraria in 1.3, and I had my old laptop at the time, my second laptop actually, and I was super afraid that I accidentally lost all of my captures when I transferred to my PC when I built it back in September. So I actually thought that I had lost all of these captures. However, I recently discovered them in a backup on my external hard drive. I actually saved them, and so I found all these pictures that I thought were gone forever. And so I went through and picked out some of the more interesting ones, and I thought I would just share them real quick because they're kind of funny. So this right here, nothing too special really. You may recognize where this is. It's on the top of my NPC housing in one of my bases, my 1.2 playthrough actually. And this was my first usage of the camera tool in Terraria. The Tavern Keep had arrived in my world, and he spawned in a very uncomfortable position. The next picture is actually one that I took during the construction of Circa Terra. I was working on the trees in the center of the build, and so it's just like a weird abstract picture. I thought it was interesting. This is a capture that I took when somebody asked me to share some of my best builds. So I had to share this one. This was probably one of my finest masterpieces. This one as well, I decided to share with that because I thought it was okay. This is a little like lookout and defense tower that I built on one playthrough with my cousin, and it was to defend the hallowed desert from the left as our base was further to the right of it. And this, some of you may recognize, is the secret alien lab that is underneath the ocean on the world that Circa Terra is on. And I know a lot of people actually pointed this out in the time-lapse video because there's clips of me running over here to visit the traveling merchant and things while I was building. So this is just what that is. Next is an interesting beehive, looks like a shoe. And for some reason, I don't know what was going on here. This one's kind of weird. So it's all dark, unfortunately, but it's actually a screenshot of the dungeon. So, and we must be in hard mode. You can see the hallow leading up to the dungeon on the surface there. But if we go down to the bottom, it was a slightly interestingly low dungeon generation. Like, it kind of protruded lower than most dungeons. In fact, it went clear to almost bottoming out on the bottom of the world. It went through the underworld. You would not be able to pass here if you're exploring the underworld. It looks like I did have to dig through here. So anyway, just a really weird dungeon generation. This is by far the lowest that I've ever seen one go. So I thought that was interesting. Next is a snowy cabin build that I did with my cousin for actually one of the Reddit building contests. This is one of the two that we actually participated in together. We both worked on a build to enter together, but this was the one for like snowy cabin theme or something like that. It was a fun time and it turned out pretty cool, I think. And this next one, this is actually one of my favorite builds of all time. I also worked on this with that same cousin for a building contest with the theme of rocket. And so we decided to try to build a spaceship rocket crash landing in an alien desert. And so there's some like ruined structures over here, weird alien technology scattered around a little bit, and then the spaceship crash landed into the sand. So it was a lot of fun to work on, and I'm pretty happy about that one. I'm really glad that I found the screenshots of it too. Next, we found a very rich jungle shrine here. That was interesting once. A lot of these are just kind of random chest generations. Here's just a funnily small living tree. These are the old living trees back in 1.3. You can see that how they changed the generation of them. Here's the old underground desert entrance in 1.32, only for some reason there were two of them right next to each other, and I've never seen that happen before. This was a really weird looking generation for a mushroom biome right near the jungle. So I don't know why, but all the mud blocks sort of scattered around here with the mushroom grass on them. I don't know what caused them to generate in that pattern, but it was really interesting and weird. For some reason, there's an ivy chest that generated in a mahogany house with a mahogany chest in it, an extraordinarily large tree. Here's an extraordinarily small desert with a desert temple in it. Probably not that interesting, but I thought it was cool at the time. This is another kind of weird one. An underground ice abandoned house that is completely filled in with thin ice. Here, a jungle shrine generated inside a beehive. Haven't seen that happen since 1.4. Funny generation on these statues here. I thought the hand reaching out of the lava was kind of funny. Here's another super short living tree. It's even shorter than some of the regular trees that are just generated extremely. Funny crimson altar placement here. I'm not quite sure why this happens occasionally, but I've seen this multiple times and there's some more coming up. Here's a floating island. Now, I was looking through these pictures, and at first I was like, that just looks like a normal floating island to me. What's the big deal? And yeah, it's a normal floating island. There's no house with chests on it, and I've never seen that happen before. Here we have a very low mahogany house in the jungle, and it's so low, in fact, in the underworld in the background, that it generated with a locked shadow chest in it. Here we have the flanking demon altars around a surface chest. This is a very handy tree. Very interesting ocean. There's just a giant mound of sand holding the entire ocean in. This is how you know Terraria has flawless water physics. Here's another weird line of altars here. This one's in the dungeon though. And here's a few, next coming up are a few pictures of hardcore bases that I had. So in 1.3, I had a bunch of hardcore expert mode attempts, and these were some of my bases that I never made it on. This one was very thoughtful in the design. Here's a sort of a larger base setup that I got a little farther with before dying horribly. Here's an NPC hotel I made, kind of weird. Here's a goldfish in a rather small pond. Here's actually the difference between a massive and a tiny breaker blade if you put them on a weapon rack. So you can actually tell the size modifier on weapons and tools does make a difference when displaying them on weapon racks. This is a base that I was playing through with my best friend actually. So we got some stuff going on and just kind of a basic setup with a living tree and then some side buildings going on too. Not so handy tree. This is one of my starter hardcore bases actually. I built this living tree as a start, and this is actually one of my favorite living tree houses that I've ever made. It turned out really cool. I just really like the shape of it overall. Plus it actually includes 18 valid houses in here. So I was pretty much set up as this for a starter base, and then I don't remember, I died to Queen Bee or something like that. Here's an update of my friend and I's base. So we added this big mushroom platform over here, which doubled as an arena for fighting Old One's army and stuff. And we had a custom mushroom biome that we were working on underground here with a truffle in it. The mushroom grass hadn't finished growing yet, but we made some interestingly shaped caves. Obviously, it's hallowed now, so we entered hard mode, sort of Japanese themed house up on a floating cloud to house more NPCs because we were getting low on space. And finally, this is the last one I wanted to show you. I was sort of messing around with different furniture tricks. Kind of a few cursed furniture items in here that I was playing around with, seeing if I could get it to work right. Anyway, that's all I wanted to show you for today. I hope it was a little bit interesting. I'm super stoked that I found my old pictures, actually. I was so happy about that. Unfortunately, I do not have my old Steam screenshots because I did not even think to save those or move them separately. So those are all gone, but at least I got something with these. So I hope you enjoyed that. Again, if you're interested in playing on a server together, check this Discord link out below, and then we can start making plans on how we want to approach it. Thank you guys a whole ton for watching, and I hope you have an outstanding rest of your day.